Okay. Thank you, Giulia. Okay. Good. There you are. Thank you for giving this nice talk. Now, apparently we always have to wait for some minutes that people really write their questions or actually raise the hand. There is a ratio. Wait a minute, actually, I just have too many screens open here. Okay. There is again Mark Greiner, please.
Sorry for spamming you with questions, Matthias.
No, this is fine.
Thank you very much for the very interesting presentation. You made a very good point with the idea of FAIR, that open is one thing, but open, unstructured, like unorganized data is as useless as not having open data. I mean, open is a great thing, but like you said, it's not the whole way. And we've spoken a lot today already about incentives. So a lot of the incentives so far have focused on the open part of FAIR, but I think the other parts of FAIR, the interoperable and reusable part, that the incentives behind there, I think are a lot of the barrier that an experimentalist face, or anyone dealing with data for that matter, faces in organizing their data, that there's this huge overhead in doing it. And not only doing it at all, but doing it in a standardized way. And so I think this CRESP is actually amazing. And I think it hits the nail right on the head, is that a lot of young researchers come into a lab and they're given a whole bunch of very complex workflow, complex tasks, lots of diverse data to manage, and then no one tells them how to do it. And then everyone develops their own little solution that kind of works for them. And I think having a useful tool to organize your data is enough incentive for people to do it. You know, if they have something that helps them get their daily job done, then they'll do it, and that's enough. Sorry, I think your microphone is muted.
That's sorry. So what I saw with my own students and postdoc, and this is a very new activity, unfortunately for us, it's very new, but are two things. The first thing that I've seen is that when new students comes in and find papers, our paper in QRESP format, they are extremely happy and amazed. And finally, those new students that start wanted to do the same thing because they see the real advantage in front of them. The other thing is that if you have to do this after the fact, it's incredibly difficult. So you have to push people to a new or a newish way of doing things where they have their Jupyter notebooks organized and they are already prepared whenever a story comes up to write a paper, to put to the paper, to put it together. It takes quite some time to convince people to do that. And, I have been talking for 2 years to the American Physical Society. And actually, there was a meeting that was supposed to be happening now at the American Physical Society about how to make available data. And when I talked about QRESP to them, and I think that this is related to the second question, Matthew Evans, I see a question here. They said, oh, this is wonderful. And after this is wonderful, there was a big but, right? But, we need, so how do you convince people? And second is, how do you ensure that data are versioned? And of course, QRESP does version data, and that they are out there forever. And forever means as long as the duration of the PDF provided by the American Physical Society. And yeah, that's... maybe we can...
I mean, you already mentioned actually Matthew Evans. So he actually asked about how can you ensure that the tools, repositories, databases last for the next 20 plus years?
Yeah.
Beyond the career of you and me and others. Do you think our decentralized approach helps or hinders this aim?
So I actually think that So my hope, and first of all, I don't have all the answers. We are building the structure right now. My hope would be that, so here's the thought: we are still publishing paper, and instead of just putting out there just a PDF, let's have a tool that allows us to put out there the PDF with the data. And then I would like to connect my papers to centralized databases where, I publish papers on certain type of materials, and I would like, once I make available the data, funnel them through the appropriate databases. So I don't know how those databases are ensured that the data in this big databases centralized are available for the next 20 years or so, but we can help, we can learn from each other. And actually, we need to have frozen and version, version data. As we have a PDF, we have a PDF with the DOI, and we have a QRESP with the DOI, and these are the data at that moment in time. If we curate them, we have another version of data, and it is possible that a way to ensure that is to make sure that there is at least one or a couple of centralized databases where we put the data. I don't know the answer yet, but in my opinion, having a distributed database so that the paper is a live object is very important. Can we do our,
yes.
Are you reading the questions, or am I reading?
Yes, actually, so I'm reading questions. So I think actually we'll take two more questions, and then we have to close, I think. Let me just really start with the one from Simon Moser. How many users are currently using QRESP? And some concerns of some people apparently, do you systematically collect data and feedback by users to detect needs of individual communities and to improve the system?
So basically, so I have anecdotal, reports from people saying, oh, we have been trying to use QRESP, but I haven't seen them distributed out there. Around now, there are only 2 instances out there, and one is ours from the University of Chicago, and the other is from Duke University, where we have also specifically Volker Bloom and other people at Duke University, because actually NSF got interested in our QRESP, which is funded by DOE, and there was a similar effort at Duke. Anyway, then there is a specific effort, then a third use of QRESP that was specifically adopted for perovskites, and this is within an EFRC within the United States. So it's very limited at this point, and we would like to have we have had a lot of feedback from the community, and we have improved some, but we are really at the beginning. It's very, limited use, and we would love to have more feedback and try to understand how to improve, and especially how to connect to centralized databases.
Good. So the last question then is by Kulapali Prince. Can we do analysis without uploading to QRESP server, but running it on our own servers?
Oh yeah, that's exactly. No. There is absolutely. That's the idea is that the data is out there. You can download it, you can use it, you can search it, and it's absolutely not only it's not mandatory, but it's not suggested because the data are frozen, and then they need to, there are versions, and the data are out there for you to use and not to upload anything to any server if you don't want to. But we are not running a database. We are not running any database, any server. This is why we do need to connect, and we need to find the best way to connect to centralized databases. We are just providing a way to making data on a paper basis out there. That's all we're doing.
Okay, Giulia, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you really at this meeting, and I hope to see you also tomorrow in the audience.